Okay, so I have it off the vehicle and we're going to take this apart. So you want to get this lined up with that hole. And I've already taken this apart. I'm just going through the motion. You have 3 screws here. And then the gear housing cover will come off. All right. So you have a gear there. You have a gear in there. And obviously I've cleaned this all up as I've taken it apart previously. And this is the part where they're talking about grease gets inside the motor. You can get in through there. Now, this is 2024 and it has ball bearings all throughout. I don't know if the previous models used bronze bushings and had looser tolerances. The grease in mine really didn't migrate. I got 4,000 miles and I didn't have a problem. It was pretty clean inside the motor. Okay, so you take these screws off. Pull the motor housing or the motor housing off, and this will come off as one piece. And then your armature comes out. You have a gasket there, you have a base gasket. You have a gasket that goes in the base and a gasket that goes on top. And then just take your small jeweler screwdriver and you can pry back this spring retention clip. And then there are your brushes. And I've already cleaned mine up. They're pretty dark. Just want to take a eraser and clean up the armature, and then do the same with your brushes, and then clean them up with alcohol. Get some a rag and just wipe out the dust, and maybe take your air compressor and blow it out, because you want to keep this pretty clean. You don't want to have any debris in there to recontaminate. So I'm hoping this will go, another 6,000 miles. I think we can find brushes for these. Okay, so these brushes are 4.4 millimeters wide by 5.09, and then the length, this is a worn one, is 11.23 millimeters. So I think a 12 millimeter, 13 millimeter brush would work. The holder is roughly 13 millimeters deep, but mine look pretty good for what I've seen from others. Where it was over, there was a bunch of grease in here that was packed and it migrated to the other side. And I didn't have that in mine, but I didn't want to leave it to chance. So that's why I took mine apart and checked it. So I'm using Tink Seal to resurface mine. So one thing you want to do is the shaft, you want to push it against the housing and get some grease in behind there on the shaft. If you can see that, just get it in behind there and then work it in, and then do it to the other side as well. This is a ball bearing, but hopefully that'll help seal it from the elements. So when you're lubing your gear up, I'm using Tink Seal. Get some lube on there and just spin it by hand a few times. So it's nice and lubricated. Take the gear out and get all the excess in this area off, as well as on the faces of your gear, and that'll help prevent grease from getting inside this cavity. Okay, so to install your brushes, you insert them from the inside. Okay, get them positioned. Get your armature, insert it. Get your gasket in place. Okay, you'll see there's an arrow on there. That's the top of the motor. Got the one side. I'm gonna flip it over. Other one's on. And you want to hold this firmly. And when you put this housing on, you want to clock this flat part with the wiring harness. And you want to hold this really good. Get your second gasket on there. Hold it tight. And that's it. All right. And then you can install that onto your housing. Put your screws in. Get your gasket on. All right. Now, it's probably easier to get your gear in first. All right. And then you want to clock this housing with those holes lined up. If you have to put a screw in there, you can. But it's kind of hard to manipulate. Okay. So then that key engages there. And that's it. Put your screws in. Don't forget to lubricate your shifter linkage.